Hey guys, hey y'all coming in. Hey, come on in, come on in, come on in. Hey guys, come on. How's everyone doing today? Let's go. Let's get it. Hey Indigo, hey Avis, how are you? Come on, come on. Maritza, come on everyone. This is a much needed conversation. This is a much needed conversation. I'm gonna be dropping the link. Hey, was that Susie? Susie mommy? Yep. I'm waiting for a couple of people to come in, not to come in the chat, but a couple of my friends are going to be joining me live. Could you guys hear me? Because y'all know I be slow. I don't have on any makeup. I don't have on any makeup. Don't be gassing me up. Don't do that. Don't gas me up. I don't have on any makeup. I have on lashes, but that's it. Don't gas me up now. I was waiting for this live. Yes, it hits home. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Avis, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because you see something this is what we don't talk about much. You know what I mean? When it comes on to suicide in our kids this week. No, I'm lying, last week because the week just started. Just last week, three teenagers died by suicide from bullying, from depression, and we as adults we take this shit for granted. We don't talk about it much. We don't express that much. My daughter was placed on this internet, and I had to have a conversation with her. I had to ask her, how did that make you feel? How did that affect you? Because at the end of the day, I'm known. You know what I mean? And she goes to a school where it's predominantly Caucasian kids. And she's on the track team. She's an honor student. And those are the type of kids that stuff like this affect. Believe it or not. Not because they're, when they come on to academics, they're good. It doesn't mean they're okay up here. So you have to make sure that you're talking to your kids. You have to make sure that you're reaching out, you're asking the hard questions. How are you feeling? Are you okay? You know? Well, I just had this conversation with the school staff. Absolutely. Are we asking our children how are they doing? You know what I mean? Because a girlfriend of mine, she was having this conversation last night on her live, and when I tell you my heart started pounding, I started getting anxiety and all that good stuff because it hit home for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, and erase the stigma. Absolutely. Absolutely. um the thing is, what do you accept when someone speaks ill of you, when someone speaks ill of your children, when somebody speaks ill in your life? What do you accept? Because we feel like, because we're adults, it affects you. It affects you as much as you want to play hard. Everybody want to be tough and, oh, this doesn't bother me, that doesn't bother me. It bothers you, but it's okay. That's the thing. Society makes it hard to say it bother you. Society makes you feel like, you're soft or you're weak or you're, because you want to admit that what's happening to you bothers you. So even as adults, we have we lay in the bed, we don't want to come out, blah blah blah, and you just, oh, it's a chill day. It's depression. You're depressed. It's stressing you out. It's okay to have this conversation, especially if you feel like there's nobody you could talk to. There's nobody you could confide in, or kids are suffering. you know I had to really ask my child, like, how did that make you feel? How did that bother you? Because if anybody here that got an opportunity to talk to me behind the scene, you've always heard my daughter. My daughter is always with me. She's a homebound kid. So they don't know what struggle is like. They don't know what fending for themselves is like. And that too can be crippling on your child when but then do you want your kid to go through what you go through? Do you want them to have that tough skin, that hard skin where they have to know how to fight? Because my daughter, I would be sorry for her if she ever had to fight, because she's never had to. You are right. Once I didn't know I was depressed until it had been a month. Exactly, Caramel Kisses. Let me tell you something. There was a point in my life when I first had my daughter, I was so depressed and I didn't know. I just know I felt lazy. I know I felt, and I said to myself, oh, I just had a baby, or, whatever. I didn't know I was depressed. I didn't know. And when I had my son, I didn't know as well that I was going through postpartum, because my son was the first grandchild for his father's side. So he went from hand to hand to hand. So he was so spoiled, right? And then after, them moving him from hand to hand, they would all leave to go to work. And then I'm there by myself. So now I have this crying kid. The kid cries consistently, almost drove me crazy, to the point where there's things that went through my head where a mother is not supposed to think. These are hard conversations that people don't have. I didn't know what postpartum depression, was. I was 19-year-old with a newborn baby. I didn't know what the hell I didn't know anything. You know what I mean? So until I became like a full-blown adult and started, reading more and doing more research, that's when I knew, oh my God, I was depressed. So I'm able now to acknowledge when I'm going through something, when I'm feeling something that, that's not how I want to feel. This is not where I want to be mentally. I can now identify that something is going on with me. Hold on, I'm going to tell my friend to come up, because she works in the school system, and she has to deal with these. She just went to a funeral. Oh, there she go. Add to stream. Hey, turn on your mic. Hit your mic, Judith.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Very good.
1 second, let me read this. I was lucky my daughter wrote me a letter telling me she didn't want to be here anymore. My husband had suddenly passed, and I didn't realize it affected her that bad because she didn't show it. Wow.
That is really serious. Like,
wow. Hi, Regala. Hi, Tanya, how you doing? Hey, buddy. Yeah, so let's go to this. Let's jump right into it with the suicide and the kids.
So the reason why I decided to join your live tonight, Shauna, is because what is happening with the suicide and the mental health issues for kids or young people, like, it's really, really serious. So one of the main goal, one of the primary focus is to be proactive, is to help parents, not just parents, help guardians, help friends to be proactive, to notice certain signs that they could see in them, in our young people or our children, and try to help them,
right,
so that we don't have to go through the loss as friends, parents, guardians, grandparents, or whatever it is.
How old was your friend's daughter that committed suicide?
14 years old. I just went to the funeral on Thursday night. It was like so crazy.
Did you know that today is Mental Health Awareness Day?
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that until like 10 minutes ago. I swear to God, I did not know that.
I didn't know that. It was just so alarming because so much stuff has been happening to people close to me. Like these young people, like people who actually tried to kill themselves and didn't actually get, like, they didn't fulfill it because they probably didn't bleed out enough after they slit their wrist. Or
yes, 14. Yeah. Oh, what happened, Judith?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
there was a Keely, did you put it on Do Not Disturb? Oh, yeah. So That's the reason why I'm so passionate about it, because you hear things every day in the news and you hear people talking about this, but when it hits home, it's like a totally different situation. And our kids are suffering. And sometimes our kids are suffering, and the serious part about it is that we are the last ones to know as parents. We're the
Absolutely.
last one to recognize as parents, and that is
Hmm.
our guardians who are living in the house, and that is the most dangerous part. So what are some of the signs that we look for? What are some of the signs that we can use to say that, okay, you know what happened, our kids are going through some problems? Or before we
Um,
even talk about the signs,
right. Someone
let's talk
said
about,
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. And Indigo said this is good because most schools are now reactive instead of proactive.
yeah. So, and the reason why most schools
Hmm?
are probably reactive instead of proactive is
Okay.
because some people, like, they don't know what to do. There's not a plan. You see how they have an evacuation plan? Like what to do in case of a fire, what to do in case of an emergency, what to do in case somebody comes into the school. They don't have any plan for mental health in the school. The only plan that they really have is to say, okay, social emotional learning, and how to include social emotional learning into the curriculum, like infusing the books into the ELA curriculum and stuff like that. But in terms of a direct plan to deal with mental health, it is not. I mean, there's some community schools right now. There's
I'm
some
gonna say
community.
this. I'm gonna pause you for a minute. So my daughter goes to a predominantly white school, right? And over the summer, like when I tell you every single day, the school there's like an automated system that calls you to tell you to make sure that you're having conversations with your kid. They have it's a big broad spectrum at her school about mental illness. And when I went to her school, because she had college night a couple of nights ago, days ago, and when I went there, there's an entire room dedicated for that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even, because she used to go to private school and they didn't have that either.
So is she going to a private school now or public school now?
No, regular public school.
Regular public school? Because what I was gonna say is that some public school, they're community schools. So because they're community schools, what they're doing, they're having like mental health clinic inside of the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them are developing, and some of them are like they didn't get it yet. Like it's work in progress. So
Mm-hmm.
they're trying, they're really trying in the schools. But apart from that, it's like the curriculum, they're trying to build in the social emotional aspect into the curriculum.
Oh, okay.
But the thing about it, even though you build in the social emotional aspect in the curriculum, let's get to the real meat. Like,
Yeah,
how do
get
we
jump right
know?
into it.
Huh? Yeah,
Jump
let's
right
get into the
into
real
it.
meat, because they have all these books. The teachers are reading all these books to the kids, but it's still happening and it's still growing. So what happened? You know what I'm saying? What is it that causing our children to like go over the edge? What is it that causing our children to feel like they don't want to live anymore, that they don't deserve to live anymore? There are a lot of different factors that's causing that. Let's talk about number one, social media. You understand? So social media is a big thing where our kids go on, where people on social media, they portray this image. They portray this image that they're flawless. Look at me who's speaking. I have on makeup right now. I have on this here or whatever the case may be. But underneath all of this, you're gonna see pimples. You're gonna see probably a fine line or something. You understand what I'm saying? But these kids do not understand that whatever they see on social media, most of it is not real.
Not only, and
So it's
that's the
like,
thing, and that too, why I really wanted to have this conversation, because unfortunately, it's not just kids. Adults too. We see people living a certain life or whatever the case may be, and then you have this perception that they're perfect, and they're not. They're far from it. A lot of them portray a lifestyle that they're not even living. They're living a lie on social media because I don't know about the fake it till they make it situation, because I've just never been that. I stand in my truth. You know what I mean? I'm mina have it, mina have it. Like that
yeah.
type of thing. But you do have people with the fake it till they make it type of mentality. So they live a lie, or they'll do certain things, and then once it's called out, depression hits, or they themselves commit suicide, or they themselves, they can't be active in their household, to their kids, to their spouse, to their family, because there's something else on social media that's deterring them from that situation. You
And
get what
then
I'm saying?
also the people who are also comparing themselves. So we have our kids who are comparing themselves to those people who are on social media, not realizing that it's not true, and then they feel less than. They feel that they're
Oh,
not pretty
everyone is
enough.
saying this is a conversation that needs to be talked about more. Big up, absolutely. Yes, beautiful. That's why it's imperative that home is the first safe haven. Exactly,
So
exactly.
so definitely we're gonna talk about that. But before that, we want parents to recognize, or we want families to recognize some of the issues that are causing this mental breakdown. This
Exactly. Go ahead.
breakdown that makes our kids feel like they don't want to be here anymore. They don't deserve the life that was given to them by God. You
All right.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
social media is definitely one of them. Another thing is um education. Like they feel like they have to, some students feel like, okay, they have the standard that they have to attain in school. Like, okay, you have to get straight A's, you have to, be academically brilliant. And if
Incline.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, and if you're a straight A student, and because a lot of the suicide is about that. Students who are straight A students, they're, what I'm saying, they're top of their class, they're doing best, and something happened in terms of like, okay, they fail a test or they're not doing well, and they feel like, okay, they're going to disappoint their family, they're going to disappoint their parents, and they prefer not to be here anymore instead of disappointing their families. So
Mm-hmm.
that is one thing. That is another thing that is causing it. Another thing is that, go back to the social media, like our kids do inappropriate things, and when it gets out into social media, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed. It starts affecting their mental health. And they feel like, okay, I've disappointed grandma, I've disappointed mom, I've disappointed dad. You understand? And I cannot face them anymore. So instead of facing them and facing them still, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to face them, I'm going to kill myself. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So the expectation that we have on our kids, some parents, probably me, I'm included, we don't
Me
realize
too.
that our kids are human being. We don't recognize that our kids have problems. So in order to be proactive and to help our kids or our children deal with this mental health issue, we
Mm-hmm.
have to understand that they have feelings, and then understanding that they have feelings, we have to teach them how to talk about this feeling.
All
And
right,
the all
let's jump into the chat real quick. So, everyone is saying that they love the topic, it's good, and then they're talking about talking to their kids on a regular. They're saying, "Hey, what's up?" They're greeting you, "Hey, Shani," and chat.
hello,
So I just don't want to ignore
I
you
can't
guys,
see
but
the
I'm
chat.
aware. You can't see the chat.
No, but it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So I'm just gonna ever so often we're gonna, if I see a question that you need to hear, I'm gonna pause you and jump right into it. Okay, go
Yes.
ahead. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jackie,
So
everyone.
good night, guys. I can't see the chat, so I'm dependent on Shauna with the chat. My daughter's here with me, so she's 22 years old. So if you feel like you want to say something from a young person's perspective, Markelia, feel free to also jump in
Oh,
and
that's
say
nice.
something,
Okay.
okay? Because it would be good to hear from your point of view, like from a young person's point of view. So I was talking just now in terms of like teaching our kids to express their feelings and talk about their feelings. But the problem is, our kids, probably mine, who's standing next to me, the reason why they don't talk about their feelings is because they don't trust us. So in order for them to have those tough conversations with us, they have to trust us. How do we
Absolutely.
build that level of trust? How do we build that relationship? Because think about it. If I meet a guy and I'm sleeping with a guy, I'm not going to tell all of my friends. I'm going to tell the ones who I can trust,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the same thing with our kids. If they're having these feelings, say these sexual feelings, and they don't know how to deal with them
Okay, one
or
question. I want to
recognize
just
them,
ask. So Avis says, "I wish I would have seen the signs. I was grieving myself, so I missed it. I'm glad my daughter reached out to me." Avis, if you want to come up as well and give us like a more detail as to what happened and how you can help somebody else, you can let me know. Go ahead, Janet.
yeah. So it's like we talk about talking about our feelings, because it's the feelings that we have in our head. That's the problem. The biggest problem is the feeling and not knowing how to deal with the feelings. And this is what our young people are struggling with. They're having all these emotions in their head. They're feeling scared, they're feeling frustrated, they're feeling angry, they're feeling miserable, they're feeling nervous, and they don't know how to deal with. You want to say something? They don't know how to deal with these feelings, and as a result, it tears down their mental health. So they're struggling with it because they don't know who to talk to, who to confide in. And sometimes the problem is, guess what? They confide in their friends. And their friends take it and carry it and tell everybody else. And
Because
then
home is
it
not
makes
a
the
safe place
problem
for them to
worse.
discuss it to. They didn't feel safe enough to talk to you. So the friend is who they confided in. And that's why we have to try to build like a safe haven home where they feel, okay enough to say it to us. Like for me, I try my best. I'm like the intrusive mother. Like I never stopped going through my son's phone until he was like 19. I'm still going through my 16-year-old daughter's phone. Like, because I don't, mind you, I had to go through it. They're going to hear this anyway, but whatever. But I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. You know what I
But
mean?
but
Because
but you know what, Shauna? You see, these kids are one step ahead of us, even with the phone.
absolutely,
They
absolutely.
have like they have like different passwords
Different
for different
chats.
sections of their
Mm-hmm.
phone. So
Mm-hmm.
even though you feel like you're getting to it, you're just
Yep.
getting to what they want you to get to. So
Yep.
my thing is, we have to, from our kids are young, even when they're old, we have to have these difficult conversations. Even with my daughter, sometimes I will have a conversation with her. Okay, are you in a relationship with somebody? Are you flirting with somebody? Are you having sexual feelings? What do you do when you have these sexual feelings? How are you feeling? How is your mental health? And sometimes my daughter would be like, Mom, boundaries. And I said, Markila, there's no boundaries because anything happens to you, I'm the one who is going to fix it. Would have to fix it. You understand? Even though some of them will sneakily go and fix it, but that's where we want to stray away from. We don't want them to, when they make a mess, to go and try to fix it on their own, especially certain mess. You
Yeah.
understand? Because
Yeah.
normally when they're fixing it on their own, they're dragging some friend into them who is a friend of a friend and a friend of somebody else and somebody else's best friend. You understand?
Right.
And then this is what is affecting them now. They don't want to go to school. They don't want, you understand what I'm saying? So let's break it down to them. Let's talk about how they're feeling. If we come in and we have to notice when our kids' behavior change, when their moods change. You have to know
Right.
your child. If you come in from work, or if they're coming from school and you see them and they're not in the mood to talk or whatever the case may be, my daughter, she loves to talk. Tell me, Mom, I don't want to talk about it now. Afterwards, you see me go up there. You ready to talk about it? No, Mom, I just said I don't want to talk about it. I go back again, right, Markelia? And I keep on pressing until she talks about it because keeping your feeling inside, it's not going to solve the problem. Speaking about your feelings, and we have to let our kids understand that. Speaking about our feelings actually help others come up with solution, but not just talking about your feeling with any and everybody, with
Okay.
trusted
So
people.
someone said, I keep telling my sister that she needs to check my niece's phone, and she wouldn't because she didn't feel the need. So I checked it, and her mom needed to see the pics she was sending to a 16-year-old boy. Let me tell
Okay.
you something. That, all right. So there was this instant where there's a girl that I went to school with her, and she's a popular girl. Her daughter, same thing, honor student and stuff like that. Somehow she sent pictures, but I think it was in a group chat with her friends or whatever. And the friendship fallout and the pictures were leaked. She almost killed her, like literally, because she's now embarrassed because of who she is. The kid is embarrassed. And let me tell you something, that in itself, I understand because the daughter went through depression for a long time because, you saw me in my nakedness, my purity. That's something that should have been for me, but I felt the need to share it with somebody else. Before you know it, it went left. Let me tell you something, another instant when my son was about 14 or 15 years old, because my son too was an honor student. He's now graduated college. He's a good kid. So when he was in high school, because he was popular. He's on a football team, stuff like that. We went to parent teachers meeting. So I'm coming back from parent teacher meeting. I saw like maybe 5, 6 people standing in front of my house. So I circled the block because I'm like, I don't know who that is. You know what I mean? I've been out taking no check. So circled the block, and then I came out because I had to look to see who it was. So I saw like some little girls and adults. So I came and mind you, I saw those pictures in my son's phone maybe 3 4 months prior. There was pictures with a young lady, a little girl, not no young lady, little girl in her little cartoon panties, or it's a little girl. So I came when I saw it, I didn't do anything about it. Then I erased it because I realized it was like in a group chat. You know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, whatever. So now the parents seeing this, but this is months later. So they came to my house because they're like, oh, your son did that. I was like, no, he didn't. He got the picture in a group, like with everybody else. So it's right there at the moment that, but I, blame myself because when I saw that, I should have went to the school. I didn't. I just spoke to my son about what was being shared in that group chat and I left it alone. And so this mother now, she's like, you know, um, her daughter lied to her, which now she was finding out the truth right then and there that she didn't send it to my son. She sent it to somebody else who was on the football team who sent it to everyone. So she wanted to like beat her down right in. I'm like, that's not the way. Like, it is what it is. And it's just that you didn't catch it fast enough because at that time I would have been going. I always check the phone, and this is stuff like that I've seen because I would wait months in advance and then check. I'm not checking you every day because you're not gonna delete what you need to delete, and I'll wait. I'll do pop-up checks like give me the phone, or I'll wait till they're sleeping because you can't have a password on the phone that I pay for, and I don't know the password. So I'm popping up whenever I feel like it to do this random check. So long story short, everyone in the school saw this little girl in her underwear. So she was so embarrassed. She didn't know what to do, what to say to her mom. So it's at that space in front of my house where she, had a conversation. And luckily I was there to kind of like break the ice where her mom was able to talk to her. And I'm like, you could just talk to her. But beating her right now, it's not going to make it. Even beating her in front of me or beating her in front of my kids, it's irrelevant because she did it. She's already embarrassed. The whole school has already seen her. And mind you, it wasn't anything to see. She didn't, it wasn't like a shapy little girl because my daughter is big for her age. This little girl was probably like looking like 10. You know what I mean? And I'm like, at that stage, you shouldn't even be indulging in anything like that. But that's a conversation that maybe, it was needed, but it's just the way how her mom wanted to beat the living daylight out of her in front of my house. But she didn't understand what exactly transpired and then how it happened. So she asked me, and that's the only thing I said I should have done. I should have reached out to the school and tried to get it because I saw it was in a whole group chat.
You want to
But
say
a guy who
Marquita?
I was just thinking that
Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her.
In terms of when children, like in that situation, it would have been better had her parents told her about sex, because I feel like as parents, because you know that you can get a baby or an STD and no parent wants their young child to have a baby or STD, sex is then demonized, and the conversation is not really a long conversation. Is no, don't do it, don't bring no baby into the house, and all the negatives are listed about sex. When do you realize that parents don't really tell you, sex is really good, it's fun and it's enjoyable and all these things.
Yeah,
So
therefore,
right. It's like in your head you think your parents a liar because, oh really, sex is bad, but I'm here, so it couldn't have been that bad. For like, if sex is really as demonic as you guys say it is, and the whole wait till marriage, and a bunch of the people who's telling these kids to wait till marriage did not wait till marriage.
So what do you think what advice would you give to parents in terms of that?
Have an honest conversation about sex.
And what would the honest conversation be? Because I don't know what an honest conversation is. Because my conversation to you was like, okay, Markelia, you don't protect yourself. Markelia, remember that remember, I always tell you don't want to get disease on your mouth, and I show you pictures, and I always say, Markelia, remember, if you have sex or whatever, if the person's not clean, you can get in. Those are the conversations. So coming from a 22-year-old, what would be an honest conversation? What would be your advice to the parents that an honest conversation for sex is?
My whole take on it is just to not demonize it and not forbid it, because there's something about when your parent tells you not to do something, something in your brain makes you want to do it
But
10
we don't.
times
But we don't
more.
want to encourage them.
But here's the thing. My whole thing is, as parents, you have to understand and accept that your child is going to do whatever they want to do. The only thing you need to do is equip them with the tools to be safe and be prepared, and like be able to handle the consequences of their actions. It's not your job to stop your kid from having sex. Your job is to educate your child on safe sex, educate your child on, okay, these are the morals that I would like you to have. I would like that you don't have sex with 500 different people, because
Isn't that like in the perfect world? I wish I would.
I like the way how you said that as parents, our job is not to stop our kids from having sex, but to educate them and to prepare them for all of the obstacles or all
They
of the
said, "Go
things
ahead, Marquila. Great job."
that comes along with it. But my thing is, another thing I just wanted to touch on the topic in terms of like because this is
One second. They said, "Hey, Shani, late coming in. I love this content. Definitely something that needs to be discussed, especially with all the bullying going on in these social media streets." Absolutely. She said, "Be truthful." Yes, Carmel. Well, I'm gonna protect my son by any means necessary. I will buy the condoms. Absolutely. They said, "Go ahead, Marquita. Great job." Some of the grown folks in the YouTube sector need to pull up and take this lesson. Thank you, Shani, a true woman of compassion and class. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think we tell them bad things about sex. We should be telling them great things.
That's what you said.
Great things with that special person. Absolutely. Speak, young lady. They say speak. Go ahead, Marquita.
No, and that's why that's why I invited her to share her views, because coming from a younger person perspective, we're like older. So, you know what I'm saying? Parents need to understand what kids need to hear. And even though she's a young lady, she's still a kid in my eyes.
You're right.
But, it's important to hear other people's view. But there's one thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of when parents, let's be proactive, because probably some of us never experienced it before, but things can happen.
That's
to
amazing,
anyone.
Karen.
So what I want to say, if sex videos or sex tapes or anything like that goes out with your child and you grab a hold of that, please do not beat down your child. The Bible said, let who don't have any sin cast the first stone. I know we're impulsive because I'm a parent too. And if me hear that about Marquelia when she's in high school or elementary school or whatever, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to be so mad at her. But now that I'm more educated,
I'm going to turn on my fan.
And now that I understand how my behavior affects her, I'm going to try to be, because I'm learning just like everybody else, I'm going to try to reason it out. So my thing to you, if you hear anything bad about your child, don't try to beat them down. Have a conversation with them. Understand where they're coming from. Soothe them. Comfort them, because guess what? They are in a hole. We as parents, we don't want to dig them into a deeper hole, because that's when the mental health issue comes along, and that's when the suicidal thoughts come along. Because guess what happened? My teachers are mad at me. My friends are mad at me. My mom is mad at me. My dad is mad at me. Everybody's mad at me. Guess what? Who is here by myself? Me. And guess what? I don't want to be here anymore, because if everybody's mad at me, I don't want to be here anymore. And we don't want to have that, because guess what? A lot of us adults, okay, I know that a lot of us have sex with guys who we regret. We do a lot of stuff that we regret. Teach our kids that it is okay to make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. The most important thing is what we do after we make those mistakes. Don't I always tell you that?
She's 22, Tyrese.
You can make mistakes, but the mistake is just a tip. The sex that goes out with you, it's just a tip. The grades that you're not getting
Question. When should birth control be non-negotiable for sons and daughters in tandem with sexual health conversations?
What was that? When should birth control?
When should you start being non-negotiable with your children about
in terms of birth control, I think you should listen to, Birth control is about what's going in your body, and you and parents need to give children autonomy over their own bodies. I'm not sitting here saying, okay, now let them get tattoos or do whatever craziness. But in terms of birth control, you should give your child the autonomy over their own body and when they think it's the right time for
But
them to go on birth
but do you
control.
think children really understand the logistic behind that? Do you think
that's your job as the parent to educate? But if you educate and your child at 13 says, I want to go on birth control, that's a part of a safe measure.
And your child is being honest.
Yes, you cannot stop them from having sex, but you can help aid them in the safety precautionary measures and all that stuff. You're not going to stop them.
So do you think I should be having birth control conversations with my 10-year-old?
Honestly, for the birth control for a 10-year-old, you would have to be talking about sex. And in my opinion, I think sex should be something that is talked about as early as you can. The first time I heard about what sex was, which is nothing crazy, I was in the 3rd grade. So kids are talking about sex before you even know it. So before you even decided to talk to me about sex, I already knew what was going on. I just sat there and nodded because it was like, okay, what are you telling me something I don't know? So I think
I was late as a parent.
Yes, it's important because, for example, like little kids who are getting touched up or felt up at school or something like that, you want them to be able to vocalize that, but they don't even know what just happened because they don't know what sex is. They don't know that's something wrong.
Let's talk about being touched, right? And I think that even when it comes on to parenting, right, you have to also know your child. And as she said, when she was going to school in the 3rd grade, she already started to hear about sex or whatever the case may be. As parents, we do want to protect our children's innocence to some extent, but you also want to, you don't want to be, stupid
but Shani, let's go back. Let's backtrack. I thought I knew my child.
Right.
3rd grade is 9 years old.
Right.
I didn't think I needed to be having that conversation with my 9-year-old.
Exactly.
And here goes my former 9-year-old telling me that when I started talking to her about it, which was when she started seeing her period, like about what, 11, 12? Something around there. She already knew. She was like, and then I was demonizing it. So you understand what I'm saying, parents? What Marquila just said, it's important to start having these conversations as early as possible because they're already being exposed to it in a different capacity when they go to school or wherever, when they meet with their friends. And I'm thinking that, okay, I don't have to worry about that because guess what? Marquila don't go nowhere without me and she's going to school to hear about that. You see what I'm saying? So these conversations, and this is what breaks kids down. This is what breaks down their mental health. When they go to school and they're having these sexual feelings, these sexual urges, they go to a boy, the boy touches them, things go around, pictures go around with them doing oral sex. Because most of the time, the only convenient sex for these kids to have is oral sex, right?
Let's talk about one thing with our age demographic and these younger kids, right? At 10, I wasn't educated on sex. You can't talk about no sex in my household at 10 years old. You can't at 11 or whatever. But also at 10, I never had access to the internet. I didn't have access to a smartphone that walks with me all the time. I'm not seeing provocative behavior and stuff like that. These kids, TikTok is the living devil for kids. Snapchat is, there's so much. I remember that my daughter doesn't have Snapchat. She's 16 and she still doesn't have Snapchat. Because I remember when I was on Snapchat, like just randomly in your For You saw they were introducing sex and stuff like that. No. So social media is taking away our children's innocence at an early age, where at 10 she's talking about, sex being introduced to her or whatever. Because
let's try to tie this in because we're talking about one aspect. We're talking about the relationship between sex and the depreciation of our mental health and how we can help our kids, you understand, to cope.
My
So
sister had
I'm
a
gonna turn
baby.
this.
My sister had a baby at 12 and at 14. Her daughter was a virgin until she was 26 years old and married. My sister never talked to her daughter about sex. It's just her daughter's beliefs to wait. Okay. Times has changed. Children nowadays are much more advanced than we were. Absolutely. It's good to have a conversation about it. It's jumping. It's good to have a conversation about it, all because kids hear a lot of things in school before we can discuss it. True.
So let me ask you, Markelia,
Her
what do
daughter is
you think?
22. She's 22.
She's 22. Let me ask you something. From your perspective, what is the relationship between sexual conversations, sexual encounters, teenagers, and mental health? What's the because we want parents to understand why we're talking about this. So what do you think the relationship is between sex, because it's a big part of our teenagers' life. It's new to them. They feel like okay, they want to explore. They want to see what this world is, and they don't. The problem is they don't
Oh,
know
hey,
how
how
to
are
handle it.
you?
Handle it. So, what is the relationship between teenagers, sex, mental health? What do you think?
Um, Teenagers, sex, mental health. I would say sex affects teenagers.
Speak a little louder.
I would say sex affects teenagers probably the same way it affects adults. It's just that teenagers don't have the enough emotional intelligence to handle it.
Enough. You
So
hear what that is? Teenagers do not have enough emotional intelligence to handle everything that is associated with it. Go ahead.
because it's one thing to be like, you think you're grown, so you're having all this sex, but then again, if you get embarrassed on social media and even a sense of things that drive women crazy, think about it. Think about how you feel if you had sex with someone and he just ghosts you. That will
He just
really,
ghosts you.
he just like,
Wait, let's break it down for people who are from the Caribbean. When you have someone no, I gotta break it down because that's like an American
They
term.
understand. They got it, and they don't what hit it and quit it.
yeah,
Okay.
say they hit it and quit it. That makes you like question yourself, you questioning your self-worth. But an adult is more to know, I'm dealing with this person, so we never made it official. They have a little bit more. Even adults can be driven over the edge with an action like that, but they have a little bit more of emotional intelligence where they're able to, like, I guess,
Navigate around it.
navigate themselves through that issue. Whereas a teenager, they're just going crazy, and it's breaking down their self-worth. They don't think that they're worth anything. A lot of the stuff that we see in social media now, they feel like they're damaged goods because they let somebody hit it and quit it, and they didn't call them back. So it's a lot. Sex is like, it takes out a lot on teens.
So what do you
Okay.
think we as parents? Okay, go ahead, and then I'm gonna ask her because see that's the problem. So we need to figure out solutions for the problem so we can help our parents.
Okay. So boom boom boom.
She going to
She
the
said I
chat.
try to be real with my kids because the world don't spare them, which is true. I know for me when it came to sex, it was all about the man until I was in my 30s because I got nothing out of it before that. Wow.
See,
Okay,
because she's
Tanya.
emotionally equipped to deal with that.
Right.
That's what Marquila was saying. As an adult, you're emotionally equipped, but a young person is not. They don't understand that.
Alive and Prosperous says, I have a hell of a story that the comment section just ain't ready. We want to know.
We
We
want to
want to
know.
know. Social media definitely has taken over. The kids think and do things. Okay. The new generation of kids are out of control. That too. Social media definitely.
But guys,
They
the
see a
new
lot.
the new generation. Can you pause with
Wait,
that?
wait, wait. Hold up. I just want to run through so we could just
I want
shut it
to.
up and
I'll
then
go
go
back
back.
to that. I want you to stick a pin on that, guys. The new generation of kids is out of control. I want to go back to that.
Okay, social media definitely they see a lot and it's scary, especially the little girls as far as sex. Indigo says I agree. We understand. Oh, they are saying they understand. Hit it and quit it. I believe the teens get curious and peer pressure plays a role as well. Emotional intelligence, so true, says TW. Go ahead.
So I don't want to. I want you to continue to think about it. What are some advice that you could give to parents in terms of helping our kids go through that aspect, and then we want to move on to another factor that is affecting our teenagers. So I wanted to think about it, but I want to go to the point where we're saying our new generation is out of control. If our new generation is out of control, drop in the comment section. Put in the comment section, what can we do to help them? And do we think that they're really out of control, or is it they're changing? Are they out of control, or are there changes? Is it different times? Because our grandparents would think that we are out of control when we were growing up. Their great would think that we are wild and way out of control when we're growing up. You get what I'm saying? So what can we, if we think that they're out of control, what can we do? Because the thing about it, we always talk about the problems. And that's why I want Markelia. Markelia just talk about the problem.
Wait. I have to touch on VC. VC said also we have to be mindful that teenagers' frontal lobes are still developing at the time. So their decision-making skills are distorted. Life stressors for teenagers are magnified by 10.
Wait, is either who is that, Lacey?
VC.
I'm not seeing it, but what's her name, Lacey?
VC.
Oh, VC. VC is either one, an educator, or two in the medical field. The reason why I'm saying that because she's
her frontal lobe.
Her frontal lobe of the brain. So we
and
study
it's distorted.
Educators and also
yes.
in the medical field, that's what we study. We study the science of the brain. So for her to come up with that form of academic vocabulary is either she's an educator or a nurse. But that is so true. And the reason why I didn't really go into that aspect of it, because I want to break it down in layman's term. I don't know who will be able to understand or handle that or grasp it. So
we're all smart. You can just
not to
talk.
say smart, but certain terms in medical field I'm not going to be able to understand. It's not in my schema. You get what I'm saying? So not that everybody's smart in whatever area they do. If you do lashes, you're smart in that. You could tell me everything about the eye, and probably I can't do that. You get what I'm saying? So it's not a matter of smart, but it's a matter of breaking down things into layman's terms so that every single person can understand and benefit from the conversation. But VC, point well taken. I appreciate that, and I understand it, and that's facts. Markelia, so now, what can parents do? What advice do you give to parents in terms of helping their kids to go through this sexual phase so they don't go to the point where they're committing suicide or having suicidal thoughts or suicidal attempts?
After building a solid foundation of trust and not having judgment, I say, when I feel like your child will come to you and let you know that they're ready to have sex, and you honestly find out why. Not stop them, but why, so that you can navigate. Why are you looking to have an orgasm? Are you looking to build a connection with someone? Because I can help you and let you know that the person that you're having sex with, what they want. Like if it's your longtime boyfriend, okay, your boyfriend is most likely just trying to have a deeper connection with you through sex. Versus if it's someone you don't really know that well, I can help and tell you, like, listen, this person is not looking for a deep connection like you are. This person is not looking for a relationship. So this may not be the right person that you want to go have sex with. You know what I'm saying? But not to like, it's not, this conversation is not to be like, no, you can't have sex.
So are you saying that, and I'm bringing this up because I want parents to see this. Are you saying that I didn't have the relationship of trust and I was coming from a judgment zone because I was the one who's always digging these things out of you? Okay, Markelia, are you having sex? Okay, Markelia, do you start having sex with this person? Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So are you saying that I did not build that relationship of trust and judgment-free zone? And if not, how can parents build that connection of trust and judgment-free zone?
Well, for you, it wasn't like you were judgmental or so. It's just that
you see how you see how aggressive you are. Wait. You all right. So that is what we
could have someone,
Yeah, but no, I'm glad you did that. Like, because to me that was like she's talking, she's expressing herself. You no, come straight. Leave her, let her express herself.
No,
So
you know
it's
why
like,
I say that? Because she said it and she smirked. Her face. I wish she could show her face.
no,
Her
but
facial expression, she smirked. So that means she's trying to like withhold certain things. So that's why I don't want her to withhold anything, because right now we're in the business of help, not business, because it's not benefiting me. We're trying to help people. So I want her to lay it on the table. So Markelia, were you saying that I didn't build a relationship of trust and a judgment-free zone? And if I didn't do that, how can parents do that with their kids?
It wasn't that you didn't build a relationship of trust and non-judgment. It's just that you didn't understand. You're not privy to that sexual aspect.
All right, let me get to some of these comments.
Wait, no. Hold on. Before you get to the comment, we don't want to break this enough because Shauna, I'm feeling that you are not privy to the sexual aspect also. And I feel like a lot of parents are not privy to the sexual aspect. So if Martina can help us.
Okay, if you had a daughter and she wants to go have sex with a man, then if I wanted to have sex with a man, then I would come talk to you. I didn't want to.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so
because that's very important what you're saying, and I'm thinking that with that said,
I felt like that was out of your realm.
Guys, I want you to listen to Shauna. I don't want you to go to the comments.
Let me tell you something.
You know why I don't want you? Because
I want Markila to speak as now she's 22 and she's telling you how she feels at 22. But I want her to be talking about her 14, 13,
that's what she's doing. That's
ahead.
what she's doing. And this is something that she's bringing up that drives a lot of teenager crazy. And this is something that caused a lot of friction in our household also. You understand? And Marquita, I think that I'm thankful for you to come and to share this and to express this, because this is going to help a lot of people. Marquita, I'm going to tell you what she's getting at. Just
no, let her tell it. No, let her tell it.
Okay, go ahead. I want you to
tell
it. You said that. I want you to pick up from the part where you left off, where you said that you felt like if you wanted to have sex with a man, that would be okay with me expressing it to you. But what?
But I did not want to have sex with
Speak up loud.
I did not want to have sex with him. And I wanted to have sex with a woman. And
you hear? Can you hear, guys? You can hear, Shauna?
And here's the thing, because another thing, since we're deep diving into mental health, and I know there's a lot of Black and Caribbean people on this live, you gotta love you. If you claim you love your child, if you claim you have this unconditional love for your child, them being gay should not change that.
And this is
and that creates that. I feel like LGBTQ youth in Caribbean and Black households probably suffer the most, because either they're in the closet and they're too scared to come out, or they're out of the closet and they get disrespected and they get like threatened by their family members and their parents. And that is a lot to deal with. A lot for someone telling you who you are, you're going to burn in hell. I'm not saying you should change your belief system and saying like, oh, you should turn away from God because now that your child is gay. But you loving God should not stop you from loving your child, no matter what the circumstance is. Because there's a lot of parents who will go to the jail cells and sit on the phone with their child, but let their child be gay. It's something completely different. We have to like walk away from that closed-mindedness that you're gonna go burn in hell. If you believe that, that's okay, but your child should still feel the same level of love and care from you. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so I want to talk about Markila. I love you and I respect you for even making yourself that vulnerable, for talking about that part of it, knowing that you are gay. You understand what I'm saying? I thank you for putting yourself out there like that. And I wanted, from a parent's perspective, from a parent's perspective, I'm going to tell you my perspective. I was part of it who's helping to drive my child crazy in terms of making our mental health go haywire. You understand? When my daughter told me on her 18th birthday, 16th birthday,
I was 6.
when my daughter told me on her 16th birthday that she wanted to be gay, that she's gay, and that she wanted to dress like a boy, I was crazy. I was furious. And remember earlier when I talked about when your child is going through difficulty and you push them further in difficulty? I was that parent who was pushing my child further down in a hole of depression and like letting her go crazy because I couldn't accept that. Remember, I'm a girly girl. I wanted to buy my daughter's wedding dress. I wanted to walk her down the aisle. All of that. It was so difficult. Trust me, I was so mad. And that made her so mad. And then she became so rebellious. She became so angry. Our mental health, when I tell you our mental health goes all the way down, all the way 6 feet down, our mental health went all the way 6 feet down. And I wasn't even paying attention to that. I didn't care as a mother. I wanted what I wanted, which was my child to be straight, which was my child to be girly girl, which was my child to be in the image that I wanted her to be. So because of that, I took her, I bring her to church, I bring her to the altar, I have the preacher pray for her. I went to the store, I buy all white sheet set for her bedroom, and the guest bedroom was close to her room, so everything was all white curtains, everything, because I was purifying it. I bought a bottle of olive oil, I take it to church. If you go upstairs right now, you see olive oil. All that was from she was 16 and I didn't paint. And now she's 22. I didn't paint upstairs since then. So if you go upstairs and I keep on anointing it, I walk around and I pray and I read the Psalms and I keep church up there and put the oil all over our bedpost, all over our window. That was the same oil that they anointed at church. Because guess what? My daughter is not gay. She's lying. She's going through a phase and God is going to deliver her. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about what she say. And that drove my child crazy. I almost lost my child.
Wow.
You understand what?
Your own ignorance.
Say it. Due to my what?
Your own ignorance.
No, but I didn't understand, Marky. Remember, I'm Jamaican, and I'm not gonna blame it and say I'm Jamaican, but you know the stigma that is attached when you're Jamaican, and you understand it was as difficult. You see, I have gay friends. That I'm like this with, but then you're thinking not my child. And it's the same thing when these mental health issues arrive. It's like you see it on the news every day. You understand? You see people coming in suicide. You see people going through all this. But guess what? When it comes to your door, when it comes to your neighbor's door who you're close with, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yep.
You understand? And this comes to my door. You understand? So parents, my advice to you, because I just told you my story. So
and they're saying that they like your transparency. They like it.
Yeah, and now I'm looking to you. And as parents, I'm telling you, what do you do? Because that's going to be your question to me. Judith, you just told me your story. It's touching. Okay, I felt it. But now, what do you do? If you have a child, a lot of us have kids growing up. What do you do if your child come to you? Because that's what we're getting out of this, you know. That's the whole purpose of this, to help people, not just to tell our story. We're telling our story for a purpose. So my thing is, what do you do now, since you hear my story, when your child come to you and tell you that they're gay? Do you dig them down into a deeper emotional pit? Or do you love them unconditionally? Not that I stop loving my child unconditionally, but I love my views and my beliefs more. You understand? So what do you do? So what do you think parents should do? Markelia, being from the LGBT, what do you think what advice would you give to parents?
Well, one is love them unconditionally. That's the thing. You state that you love them unconditionally, but when they were straight, you weren't treating them like this. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look into yourself and decide, what do I want?
Let me ask you.
You have to say, what do I want? A living gay child or a dead straight one? What do I
Oh,
want?
go back to that. Repeat
The
what you said.
wow.
What do you want? A what?
Do you want a living gay child or do you want a dead straight one? Because you pushing them into the straight mold is killing them. Do you want an innocent, a dead innocent daughter, or do you want one who sent nudes and figure out a way to help her overcome that? Because the mold that you're pushing your child in is killing them and it stops them from being their true potential self. If you want a doctor as a daughter, or if you want your child to be a doctor and you're forcing them to do all these math and science class, but your child is truly an artist, you're killing an artist's potential. Stop killing your child's potential by trying to put them in the mold that you want them to be.
Okay, that
And
was
Marky,
deep.
I wanna ask you something because it may seem like a stupid question. How do we love our kids unconditionally? Because a lot of people, we don't know how to love our kids unconditionally. You mentioned that unconditionally love that you got. How do we love you guys unconditionally? How can we do it? What can we do to love you guys unconditionally?
You have to nurture our nature.
We have to do what?
You have to nurture our nature.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, we have a essence, we have a soul. You have to learn who we are and parent accordingly. You don't just parent your child. You have to learn who your child is. You have to learn if your child is the one who can handle a little bit of raised voice or a child who needs to be talking very nicely to, even when you're so mad that you want to kill them. But like, you have to parent your children accordingly. Hence
All right,
why
Marquita, I want to ask you something, right? When it comes on to, because I think we've kind of like captured a lot of what kids go through on their own and stuff like that. When it comes on to sex, to bullying, to this, to that, right? Your mom is known on social media. She, carries herself a certain way, conducts herself a certain way, being talked about or bullied or anything of that nature. How do you feel like if your mom was going through that, how would that affect you, knowing that your friends may see whatever it is that your mom is, because that's a lot of that going on, especially on YouTube. So I want to touch on that a little bit. If your mom was being bullied, harassed, or whatever it is on social media, because she is popular, she is known, she dressed a certain way, she act a certain way, boom, boom, boom. You in school, your friends are seeing this. How does that affect, children in your demographics, in your age, and stuff like that?
I think that would be very hard on me because in the rest of the world, like, I am a reflection of you, but at school you kind of are a reflection of me. So that's interesting. It would be difficult. How I would navigate it. First of all, I would look at the content that she's posting and getting bullied on, and if she's not doing anything that I deem is wrong, I guess I don't know. I would just.
But do you think that is something that would affect your mental health?
If you're getting bullied,
Yeah.
That would affect my mental health in the way that I view you. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't view you as strong. I wouldn't view you as so strong anymore and like so alpha and everything because
now you're being weakened.
Yeah,
someone is weakening the strong, dominant mom that you have at home. So now it affects you because of your protectiveness that's governs your mom. So
yeah, and it
seeing
would
her
probably make
go
me have
through.
to step up in a role that I'm not ready for. Because if you're not strong, somebody has to, protect you. And you've been protecting me my whole life. So I would feel obligated to protect you. And it would probably force me into a role that I'm not ready for. And because as a child, I'm not emotionally intelligent, I would start going back and forth with the people who are bullying you. And it would just create an even bigger mess.
And what advice do you think you would be able to give your mother, if any?
Delete IG.
That's a good one. Delete, delete, delete.
Really.
All right. So another question. I'm glad you said that. What if IG was her source of income? What if this is how she made money? And now she's unable to perform because, you know, every time she taps in, this is what happens to her. This is her source of income because in this new world, social media pays. IG pays,
Mhm.
Facebook pays, YouTube pays, everybody pays. So
True.
if this is your mother's source of income and this is happening to her, you feel like you need to go back and forth for her. How much of an effect mentally do you think this would have on you? Or would it?
I think the mental effect it would have on me is just me not understanding why she can't step away from it,
Hmm.
why she can't utilize some other skill and do something else, because at the end of the day, which is crazy, like this is why a lot of corporate jobs are implementing mental health days, because if you are not mentally equipped to do your job is not going to be done to the greatest to your greatest ability. So even if this is her income, at the end of the day, these bullies harassing her is going to affect her mentally, and she's not going to be able to put forth the same amount of energy, time as she would before with a good mental state. So either way, it's like a lose lose, because even though it's your source of income, it's like making you so miserable that you can't even put your best foot forward to acquire as much as you would want to.
Absolutely, because now you're not, you're operating off low vibration, so you can't perform because being judged, being watched, to being talked about, like.
But you know what though? You know what? I want to put a twist on that. I want to put
Mhm.
a little twist on that. So I want to add to what you're saying, because from a person, if the roles had changed and it was me who was giving you advice, you know what I'm gonna say to you, Markelia? I'm gonna tell you, focus on the focus. You can change you and you can change your perception, but you can't change other people. So you need to
Absolutely.
focus on your focus. What is your focus? Is your focus your job and making money? You don't care about all the noise that's coming around. Focus
Okay,
on the
okay. I'm
And
gonna
this
I'm gonna
is
pause you right
and
there,
no,
right?
because at the end of the day, and you know what, Shauna, I can speak to that because I've experienced that.
Let me
You
and
tell you.
understand?
Let me tell you. Let me
here's
tell
why
you.
I
That's
felt
coming
Hold on.
from. That
here's
is
why
coming from strength. That's coming from peace within. Not the majority doesn't have that, right? And that's why we are talking about this right now: mental health, depression, stress zone, blah blah blah, because the majority, we are not mentally equipped to deal with that. Because you could be, it doesn't matter how good you are, you can be the best mentor, the best everything in the world. You can't force somebody to be a good person. You can't force somebody to want the best for themselves. But a bad person could tear down a good person because
They
the
can.
negativity
They
is
can if they allow them to.
the
Shauna,
net when it's
Shauna,
no, 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 of course it's all if you allow, right? However, the negativity is in the world, from social media, the TV, the this, the that, the people around you. It's stronger than positive than
let
the
me tell you
positivity.
something.
Wait, you
Greater
gotta
is
listen, you
he.
gotta listen, you gotta listen.
Greater.
The only way to beat that is to not indulge. But you can't act like you don't hear it. You can't act like you don't see it. But it's how much peace do you have within? How mentally stable are you? How strong are you to
So that's what we're
ignore it?
teaching them now. We're teaching people.
Exactly.
So it happens to people. It happens to me.
Of course.
But what I'm gonna tell you, I believe I believe in God, Jesus, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And what I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you is that greater is He that is in me than He that is within the world. You understand what I'm saying? Shauna, they come for me on social media. They come for my child when I start posting my child in boy clothes and stuff like that, dressing like boy. They come for us. But I'm gonna tell you guys, the most important thing, and this is my advice to you, it's going to happen, especially when you have a certain amount of follower, especially when you have a certain amount of people who are loving you. My own family member calling people who I'm close to and telling people who I'm close to all sort of stuff. They go on my IG page and see everybody who I'm tagging. And they call each person, go on each person inbox that I post on my page and tag them in something and tell them crap about me. Because they said they have to done me. They have to finish me. Remember, them never met me. And Jesus met me. But them have to finish me. When I post picture with my daughter, them say, yo, you're going like that, your daughter a lesbian, your daughter just like. But again, I'm going to tell you this. Guys, one way to deal with this, you have to train yourself to have tunnel vision. Focus on the focus. People when people call me and they say, oh, you know, this person called me and this person tell me this and that about you. Oh, this person called me and tell me that okay, this and that, they're gonna make a surprise birthday party for whatever, and they want your number. And when they call me, they say, this person oh, you know, 10 people were in a group chat about you. 10 people call each other and connect them and telling them A, B, C, D, E, F, G about you. But you see, when that happened, pray. One at a time I start read, what is it? Psalms 109. I don't know if you know that psalm. That psalm that powerful. That psalm there with a prayer warrior them. Chant Psalms 109. When time them a fight spiritual battle. Because you see these people, they are not themselves. And the devil coming at different shape.
Say it again. Say that part again. Go back.
These people are not themselves. When I look and I see all my close family member, aunt, cousins, whatever the case may be, close friends, they are not themselves. They just allow the devil to come into them. So it's their face you're seeing, it's their voice, it's their body. But the things that they're doing, it's not them.
Spiritual warfare.
It's a spiritual warfare. And you can't go to spiritual warfare in carnal. You can't go in a spiritual warfare with flesh. You have to fight spiritual warfare with spiritual. So you have to go into your Bible, and that's what I'm telling you. The greatest gift my mom and dad and my parents gave me was to let me know who Jesus Christ is. Because he's the one who saved me from all of these mental breakdowns. And when we go for my psalms, then my war psalms, you know, people go for them gun.
Right.
And people go for them grenade. And people go for them bullet. When we go for my psalms, them. Me have one time on Psalms 109, me have to stop Psalms 109 and said, Jesus, peace. I don't want that happen to them children. Because Psalms 109, it all affect the kids them too, you know. It's boring everybody and check out Psalms 109. Me say, no, me say Psalms 35, please, my cause. Oh, Lord.
With them that fight with me.
You understand? So it's going to come, so to make it break down on the mental. You have to fight it with spiritual. When demonic thoughts come, when suicidal thoughts come, when evil thoughts come, fight it with spiritual. Father God, you promised me that you will never leave and forsake me. Jesus, where are you? I don't mean to turn this into no church or whatever the case may be, but a real thing. These demonic thoughts of suicidal. One time when the kids them, one of the kids them I got through thing, throw the blood of Jesus all over them. My kid I tell you, oh, fear bedroom full of aisle, the olive oil. Me get olive oil for them bless a church. Anytime a pastor from Florida come up, he must bless a buckle of olive oil because me use it on me anoint her. Sometimes when I look for my daughter forehead oil, come me anoint her and pray over her.
Okay.
So you have to pray over your kids. These spirits are demonic.
This is a good one. Not everyone has religion or spirituality has a strength. So we also have to be able to guide the ones who can't find the strength. And that comes by understanding that not everyone believes the same. You're absolutely right. And if at that point, me personally, like I don't know how to I don't believe in anything but God, right? However, I also believe in talking life into yourself. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. I also believe in that. So what I would do for someone like that is just, acknowledge the good that they have within themselves. Because sometimes we're so easy to judge and just point out the bad, even in our relationships, right? So if your man come home every day and he does what he's supposed to do, we feel like that's his duty. So there's no credit. We're not saying no, oh, babe, thanks for doing that, da, 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 da. But if he doesn't move his t-shirt from the floor, that's the first thing we're gonna talk about, right? I'm not picking up after you. I'm not. So we are, as human nature, we try to tend to highlight the negative that's been going on. So when for people like that who don't really believe in religious aspect, you just try to embrace the good that they do have in them. Because
And
everybody have some
and
form of good in
if
them.
you don't believe, and one advice to you, if you don't believe in the religious aspect of it, I'm not going to sit here and try to impose it on you. I can only give testaments. But if you believe in the scientific aspect of it, they're counselors. They're counselors that we can take our kids to. Because
The,
trust me, when
the
I learned
scientific
about
aspect of it believes in energy and believe in if you put out good energy, you get good energy. You put out bad, but TW Bless, yes, Psalms 91. That's the one that does it for me.
that's on my page on Instagram.
Yeah, that's for me.
Instagram, that's Judith _
Yeah.
stylist Psalms 91.
Yeah. But
What do
that's
you say?
it.
You
But
want to say
people
something?
who don't believe in the religious part of it, there is the scientific part. There's the nature aspect of it. What you put out
Counselors,
is
go
what you
go
get.
see a counselor so they could help you to go through it.
If you don't believe in the religious aspect, is just my best advice is to educate yourself on emotional intelligence and try to think about things logically and not emotionally. That's what messes us up in life, is when we act based off emotions and not logic. So if we want to go into something that is not religious, I say that's my advice. Educate yourself on emotional intelligence.
And Shauna,
That's a good one.
you see that's my lawyer daughter, but you don't have to be a lawyer if you don't want to. You do what's right. Do
You
what you
learn.
want to
You
do. Whatever
learn.
you love, you do it. Whatever sets your emotional aspect on fire, do it. But I mean,
So as an adult, as like in your spectrum, how do you or how did you deal with the what you were going through with everyone turning against you, social media, blah blah blah? How is it that you were able to? Did it affect you at any
it
emotionally?
affected me, because it really, really affected me, because the people who were doing it to me were people who I was like really, really close to. You understand what I'm saying? So to
Mm-hmm.
feel at one point, I felt like I really didn't even want to be here, because if all these people were turning against me, you understand? And then this happened in the height of pandemic, when like a lot of people who I know was passing away. So it's like a lot of people my age that I knew was passing away too. So I was like, oh my God, I started to get scared, like, okay, am I gonna die? So you have the pandemic aspect of it coming down on me. You have all these people who I know and love and are so close to and I trusted coming down on me. So it's like at one point, it's like I feel like I didn't want to be here. You understand what I'm saying? Like I sat on my bed and I literally feel my bed caving in on me. Like I cannot breathe. Like I literally cannot breathe. That's how bad it was. And that's what I'm gonna say again. Thank God for my parents and my grandparents who taught me about religion and who taught me about a solid rock, because that is what. And I keep on calling on God and keep on telling him what he promised me. I keep on calling him out and telling him, Father God, remember you said you're not going to leave or forsake me. Remember you said you're going to give your angel charge over me. Why do I have this feeling? I sit on my bedside and it's like I see. I open my eyes and all I'm seeing is darkness. What is going on? And I just had to just pray myself through. So that is what helped me to
Good.
get through my
This
darkest
is a
time.
good point of view from VC. She said, I'm speaking from a therapeutic point of view because I do believe in an higher power, but I also work with people who do not believe in that. So I have to tap into whatever it is that they see as strength. So that's a good one.
I
Thanks
love
for
that.
saying that.
Love that. Love that.
We appreciate that because
Love that.
we spoke about that. I believe it used to be a foster parent. I took mental health and abuse kids, and it's very sad what they easily go through in this world. Absolutely. But let me tell you something, because I know we touched on the kids, and I'm trying to touch on the adult spectrum of going through social media bullying, how it affects you, how it affects you in the workforce, in you're married. How did it affect you and your husband? Did you feel like you were being withdrawn from him or whatever in any case like that?
Yeah, because when you're going through things and when you fighting emotional battles, you don't want to have sex. You don't want to hear anybody. But the thing about it is very understanding, and the beauty about it, I have something that a lot of people probably don't have. So that is my, in terms of like, I have a den in my house. Like, he's always there. So he understood when I needed my space. First, before he didn't understand. Before, when I get mad at him, he used to get mad at me. He used to get mad. So it's like fire fighting fire. So I'm mad, I'm angry, don't touch me. Like, don't talk to me now. Like, can you just leave me
Thanks,
alone and just,
Marvin.
yeah.
Mhm.
So he used to get mad at me too, and when he walk out the door, he just slam it. So I had to tell him. So now it's not like that anymore. I had to tell him that when I'm angry, babes, I'm going through a lot. When I'm angry, I don't want you to be angry at me also. That's the time when I need you the most. That's the time when I need you to just hug me and just squeeze me, or just don't say nothing, just be still.
Right.
So sometimes we have to explain those things to our partners because they really don't understand, because that's how I was too until I needed that. Like, if he's giving me attitude, if he come in, because men have problems too. So don't feel like it's just women have problems. Men
Of
suffer
course.
from emotional
You
problems.
said
So
yes. It's so
if
important to really pay attention to your children and their emotions at all times, and adults as well. That's the part too. Like us as adults, we tend to want to be strong. We tend to want to be brave. We don't want to show weakness. At that time when you were going through it, I don't know if you showed any form of weakness or whatever, but for me, I know I had to. Like, there were days when it was good, and then there were days when I'm like, oh hell no, because it was so overbearing. For on your your spectrum, you knew the people that were attacking you. You knew why, and they stuff like that. When I was being attacked, I have no clue why I'm being attacked. So just imagine, you know, people speaking so ill of you. But I had to pray. I had to pray, and then there are my days when it was not a prayer. It was like, no, not today. Today is not a good day for me. And I had those good days, and I had those bad days but now it doesn't bother me as much. You know what I mean? I'm still, and maybe because I'm dealing with it on a different level, but it's not like it's gone. It's just that I gotta scoot that shit because I realized it was taking over. I used to read a lot. You know, if I can't see my little corner right there, some may have told a book. Like I'm a reader. I'm drawing, I'm working, I'm building content, and I could not. You know what I mean? I could not because I felt like I needed to fight. I needed to fight for myself because at the end of the day, when you've worked yourself into strength and into stuff like that, and you're just being attacked, you don't know why, you don't know where it's coming from. That shit will take a toll on you. So getting calls, you're coming on the internet, you're hearing your name, you can't even put a face to the person that's calling your name, you can't put a face to the person that's attacking you, that's attacking your family, that's attacking your kids. And depression in adults is real. Me, everybody know me as a fighter, not a physical fighter. I'm strong. I'm getting up, I'm dusting my shoulders off, I'm moving on, I'm doing that. But I had a weak moment where, you know my man was like, wait, what's going on? Like, why is this bothering you so much? Like, and I'm like, why it's bothering me so much? Because I work my ass off to be okay here, and just to see it being teared on and attacked. So it bothered me. So when he tried to be like, don't listen, yo, when I tell you I flip, they're not talking about you. You don't tell me what to do. Leave me, like, I'm listening. Like, you don't tell me what to do. You cannot tell me that. And I'm like, how could you not understand what I'm going through? How could you not? And I realized, like, I was attacking him, and he wasn't the person that was attacking me, but he was the one closest to me.
easiest target.
Yes, he's the easiest one for me because he's the one that's calling me, babe, what are you doing? I'm not okay. Like, it's still happening. Ain't nothing, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when you have people that's hell bound on taking you down for no reason, I'm telling you, it's a different type of warfare. That's when your faith really comes in. But like, yo, let me see if you really believe in God. Let me see how much God you really say you believe in. So that's where it came for me, where I had to start praying harder. I had to start trying my best to just not, and now I don't listen. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like. But before, I used to listen. You know what I mean? I used to be like, my earpod, hold up, I see my name tagged. You know, I'm so nervous. Like, Jesus Christ, my name is tagged. I need to go defend myself. And I'm like, you're defending yourself against demons. These people are ghosts. You can't even see them. And you're fighting a losing fucking battle because they know who you are, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As I said before, it's a devil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a devil. But another thing that I want to ask you, Shauna, because you are with your husband, boyfriend, whatever, and men go through a lot. Men struggle emotionally too. Now, sometimes when they struggle emotionally, sometimes they just get quiet, or sometimes they go for a drink at the bar, just go hang out. How do you cope? How do you deal with that? Like, you're in the household, and how do you deal with how do you help him to go through his mental?
Okay, so for my man, he's not a big talker, but I know when he's not in his best spirit because he always want to know that I'm okay. So me being okay is like always his top priority. Babe, how are you? How are you? When I realize it's just hey babe, it's mad dry, I'm like, okay, he's going through it. Oftentimes I'm also going through it. So I'm like, I don't even care. Like you picked a bad time to be going through it, right? but I'm more mindful now, and I try my best to send a text during the course of the day. He's always in his own space anyway, you know, because he likes to listen to his music. He'll have his headphones on. And when I see him do that for hours, I'm like, okay, he's really not in his best mood today. What I do is I leave him in that moment, right? We go to bed, he'll go to work, and I'll send a nice text, like a nice, long, lengthy text. Just let him know how much I appreciate him, how much I love him. And, you know, I don't even ask because he's not going to tell me what happened anyway. But
yeah,
I know me too.
Ego.
Nothing that I know me too, you know, and I'm a handful. So let's say I said something that I think, because he's the type of person that he's not going to really like check me like that. You know what I mean? If he calls me by my name, I know I done fucked up. Because he doesn't. He's like, babe, babe, babe. But the minute I hear Sean, I'm like, okay. All right. I know I done said something, so I have to like check myself. So I'm really good at checking myself. I'm really good at accepting that, okay, you probably went too far. And I'm okay with apologizing. I'm okay with, you know, sending him a text the next day or calling like today. Like I did that today. You know? You know, I had to call and be like, hey, babe, are you okay? You know, and, you know, how's your day going and stuff like that, because he works a strenuous job as well. And, you know, I try my best to accept flaws, accept when I'm wrong, and just acknowledge him, because nothing much bothers him. He's so easygoing or whatever. So when you see him in his mood, don't tell him I said it.
Well, for me, like one of my strategies to help my partner go through mental health, or to make sure that he maintains good mental health, like since yesterday,
okay,
he's been going through it. You know what I'm saying? Like I could tell because he's been very quiet. So even today when he was going to work, he's like, later. I'm like, okay, no,
you know he's going
on the
through
cheek, no, like have a good day, no, like nothing. So today I called him. I said, hon, I'm coming to your job to take you for lunch. So he's like, no, today's not a good day because I'm busy. You notice I left extra early because I had customers coming in early. So I'm like, I didn't even realize that. But now that when I thought about it, I'm like,
he did leave early. Okay.
Yeah. So then he's like, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to cook you something nice. So you see, I'm trying to call to be nice. I'm trying to take him to go to his job, to take him out for lunch. So, and then I said to him, you know, I'm going to cook you something nice. What do you want me to cook? So he was like, surprise me. So I'm like, oh my God, what did I take up on my head? Sean, I'm going to have to be online with Shauna at 7:00.
I know you was rushing to cook.
Because I promised him that I'm going to cook him, and he said surprise him. So what can I do to make him feel good? So you know what? What's the easiest thing? Tell me what's the easiest thing.
Salmon, shrimp.
Salmon! And escovitch fish. And dumpling and banana. So I made him a good meal. So he came in, he saw me on live. He was super quiet, respected that. And he had his dinner, and he was like, he did this.
So you know you're good now. You're good now.
Yeah, so I know, like, So, but my point of all this is that men go through things too.
Yes.
So we have to help our men, or we have to help the men in our life to maintain good.
Ooh, where did it go? I can't see you. I can't hear you.
Oh,
You
a call
back
was
here?
coming in. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Real quick question. One of my girlfriend is on here, and she said I was going through this with my daughter because her daughter, when she went to college, she said she was gay or whatever, and she said I remember calling Shani, girl, she walked me through it a lot. I'm glad I'm here. I didn't really to say walk her through it. I was just like, because her daughter is very smart, just like your daughter. She's very smart. She knows what she wants. I'm like, just leave for her alone. You know what I mean? Because mind you, I could give the best advice. I don't know if I could necessarily take it, but I know how to, navigate through that. Yeah. Someone said, pay attention to your children who always say they want their private. It's okay to check your kids' room. It's your house. They live in it. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel the guilt trip. It'll be better late than sooner.
Yeah, but too much privacy is not good though, because normally
Hey,
when people want
sweetie,
privacy, not
gorgeous.
hold on one second, Shan. Let's address that one with the privacy. Normally, when people want their privacy, they're doing something that they know they're not supposed to be doing, or they're doing something that they don't want you to know. And as parents, as Marquita would say, that it's not our job really to stop them, but it's our job to guide them. So
Right.
too much privacy is not good, because we want to make sure that whatever they're doing, we're not telling them to stop doing it, but we're being a parent. We're parenting the situation. We're not policing the situation. There's a difference. We're parenting the situation in terms of we're guiding them through the process of what they're hiding from us, because those same things that they're hiding can fester up and cause emotional breakdown. And that's why sometimes we don't know. We're the last one to know when our kids are going through things, because of these private moments that they have. So when they said they need their privacy, it's our job as parent to parent them by telling them, let's talk about it. Let's express our feeling. And sometimes we have to be vulnerable to our kids for our kids to be vulnerable to us. We have to talk about things that we go through to let our parents see, to let our kids know that, okay, it's okay to go through these things, because they have us as parents, and that we don't make mistakes, that we never do anything wrong. So we have to put ourselves there sometimes to let them know we made mistake too. This is a mistake we make. It's okay for you to make mistakes. Let's talk about it to make sure that it doesn't happen to you also.
Okay. This was an amazing live. We're on for an hour and a half, a little bit over that. Wait, let me just read this last comment so we can. Only the strong survive. Absolutely. Yes, Shani, sometimes we're going through we wonder if God is listening, but he's going through it right with us. He's just waiting on us to leave it in his hands. Oh, that's a good one. I'm glad. Okay, we're going to leave it right on that one. That was
And
a good one.
and that
I don't know how to
that
pin comments.
comment right there, that comment right there is the purpose of our life. Only the strong survive. So it's our job. Each one, teach one. Each one help each other to be strong. And if that's the case, so that everyone can survive. So that I hope we gave you some advice. I hope you try to implement them with your kids, in terms of like, try to listen, have the tough conversation with them. Let's just recapping, have the tough conversation, the sexual conversation, the academic conversation, in terms of the failing and success conversation, all of those conversation. You understand what I'm saying? The expressing, speaking about your feelings. So guess what? Each one, teach one. It was nice chatting with you.
Absolutely. And guys, remember, when God anoints you, only him could take you down. When God has put an anointing on your life, he's the only person that could tear you down. So with that being said, we're going to end this live. Be safe, be blessed.
Take care, guys.
All right.